another exciting session of the USINPAC Community Dialogue Series. USINPAC is a bipartisan organization representing the 3 million Indian Americans throughout the United States and has been engaging with both Democratic and Republican officials. Today we are joined by Indian American Member of Congress Rajiv Krishnamoorthy and Rajiv as Khanna, Managing Attorney, Immigration.com. Let me give you a brief background about our experts. Congressman Krishnamoorthy was elected in November 2016 to represent the 8th District of Illinois, which includes the west and northwest suburbs of Chicago. Congressman's policy platform focuses on growing and strengthening the middle class by supporting small businesses, rebuilding our infrastructure, and protecting Social Security and Medicare. And about Rajiv Khanna, he is a member of the Virginia and DC bars and the principal of Immigration.com, the law offices of Rajiv as Khanna. Since 1993, his firm has focused its practice on employment and business-based immigration and related administrative and federal litigation. Good to have you. They represent individuals
Thank you.
and businesses from every major city in USA and globally. He's an editor of leading legal practice journals, a prolific writer and opinion contributor in several publications. Thank you very much for your participation today. We are delighted to have any questions for Congressman.
Good morning, Congressman.
Morning.
I have a couple of observations, and I would very much like to point out from the perspective of our clients, as well as from the bar, how things are quite out of control in many areas of immigration law. But let's start with H-1B. Right now, there is a wide gap between perception and reality. We hear stories about people getting laid off, but then when they take an action or lawsuit against the company who's laying them off, for example, Walt Disney, the case is dismissed on a 12b6 motion. Is that a problem with the law, or is that a problem with the facts? Out of 300 to 400 people who are laid off by Walt Disney, only 2 people sue. Why is that? So there is a difference between rhetoric and fact. I think we need a detailed study, economic, statistical, legal, about where we are with our H-1Bs. Are H-1Bs hurting or helping? Are all H-1Bs hurting? Are some H-1Bs hurting? See, Department of Defense had 20 years they couldn't even balance or pass an audit. We didn't close down our Department of Defense. We worked with them and we tried to bring them on par with modern auditing principles. In the same way, I think you on the Hill, sir, can do a lot of benefit for people out in the trenches who are working with policy that has been organized, if I can call it that, organized based upon perceptions rather than facts. Wouldn't it help us all if we did some research on this, did some hearings on this, and did a bipartisan study, including all the stakeholders, to decide what is good for the economy? After all, this is the only edge we have. And technology is our only edge. Everybody else is ahead of us in many other sectors. What do you think about that, sir?
I agree that we need more light and less heat on this particular issue. We have to shed as much light on basically what is underlying the issues surrounding H-1B holders. How do they contribute to our economy? What are the ways in which we can, in a sophisticated fashion, reform the program? And how do we, grow our talent pool of high-skilled, high-tech workers in the United States? I think these all require quite a bit of study, and we need to analyze what's going on before making rhetorical conclusions about the situation. I oftentimes am concerned when the Trump administration makes broad brush statements, which to me do not seem to be firmly rooted in data, and I'm concerned that they, as a consequence, are taking hasty action and harming our economy.
Congressman, what concrete steps can you, as a member of this august body, take to make sure that the gap between perception and reality is narrowed down to where reasonable minds agree that we need to look at this problem carefully?
Well, I do this every single day. Basically, this is something where we get quite a few questions about this particular situation. We have to answer them, answer our constituents regarding this situation frequently, as well as I have to speak about it openly at different forums and so forth. Immigration as a whole is an issue that is, and I have called repeatedly for comprehensive immigration reform and reform with regard to high-skilled labor as well. This is something that the Judiciary Committee is addressing, or is supposed to be addressing. I'm not on that committee, but obviously I keep the people on that committee and I'm trying to push it forward. In particular, I'm a co-sponsor of, with regard to H-1B holders, the abolition of the per-country caps, which to me get away from the meritocratic system by which we should be allocating green cards and so forth. I'm working in other ways with other members, and hopefully we can move this issue along.
Very good. About the per country quota, sir, the problem is on the H-1B side, if Indian workers are getting 40% of the total H-1B quota, we are only getting a very small percentage of the green card quota because of the per country limits. So our green cards take 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years to come through. These are people who are stuck in the jobs. Fortunately, on January 17th, some of the regulations changed. They have made things a little easier. But it was a very grudging response from the administration. It wasn't a welcoming response. It wasn't something that was done to encourage workers from other countries to come. And I have seen reverse brain drain for the past many months. People are going back. People are going to other countries. What would you suggest we as individuals can do to help you all on the Hill, or how can we aid in this effort?
I think that what folks out in the audience can do on this particular issue is talk to your member of Congress and talk to your U.S. Senator about this particular situation. I personally believe that there's a lot of support for this particular measure. But on the other hand, I think that it's something where at the grassroots level, a lot of entrepreneurs and others need to speak up. I want to bring up one other issue which is related to this but not directly tied. I'm very concerned in general about the rhetoric coming out of the White House about H-1B workers, about skilled labor, about immigrants in general. And you all know the gentleman Steve Bannon. He has made some very incendiary comments in the past about skilled immigrants, about the presence of Indian Americans and Indian Americans in high-tech industry and so forth. And I think we have to look this square in the face and deal with it. And I would ask all of you to speak up and tell your members of Congress and senators what you think about this issue, regardless of whether they're Democrats or Republicans. It's not, I think this is something that is very serious.
I have a quick question for you, sir. Contacting the congressman, would you suggest telephone calls, faxes, emails, petitions, all of the above, any one of the above?
I would say all of the above, but I think that the main point is that they have to be authentic in the sense that if they are form email, they're form faxes, they're form letters, they're going to get less attention from the member of Congress or the U.S. Senate than if they are, from the heart, sincere, if they seem to be, expressing the authentic feelings of that individual. I think that's the main point.
Very good, sir. Sanjay, you may want to make a note of this to mobilize the community in that respect.
Yes, and Congressman Rajiv he has a point on information on that. Obviously, very modest, but huge grassroots mobilizing. That's why we will follow up the obviously.
We couldn't hear you. We couldn't hear you, Sanjay. You may want to repeat yourself.
Okay. I was saying that Rajiv has a blog and a big following on his website, education.com, and we will work with him.
Sure.
We don't discourage voter participation, particularly impact low-income folks, college students, and other people who are more transient.
I think it's...
What happens if reach out to effect?
So we have another question coming from
I think somebody's music on hold is coming through. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, Pushpesh, go ahead.
Yes, so, sorry about that. So we have another question coming from one of our members from USINPAC, and he'd like to know, what would you say to students wanting to come to the US for a graduate or PhD or a degree in artificial intelligence or higher specialized skills to the US? And this question is specifically for Rajiv.
Pushpesh, I discussed this issue last week or a week ago, 2 weeks ago on a national public radio affiliate. And I am of the opinion that United States is not attractive merely because of career opportunities, but much more so for quality of life. No matter who is in power, ultimately we are a country of the rule of law. We do have a very, very good quality of life. All things considered, this is still the best country to live in. So if students are willing to put up with some uncertainty, some turbulence, I can pretty much assure them that things are still better here than in any other country. That's what I've told people who reached out to me individually and in groups from India.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments on it.
Yes, sir.
So the next question is coming again from Sanjay.
Congressman, during this discussion
Sanjay, can you please be a little louder? We cannot hear you.
Congressman, during President Trump's joint session of Congress, he talked about a skill-based immigration platform. What do you think of that in terms of copying the Canadian or Australian model for skill-based?
Sorry, I can't hear. I could not hear your question. I can't hear you now.
Let me try, Congressman. I think I understand what he's asking. He's saying, correct me if I'm wrong, Sanjay. He's saying, what do you think about a skill-based model of immigration as it is in, did you say Australia, Sanjay?
Australia and Canada. President Trump talked about it during his address to the joint session.
Good. Yeah.
So my take on this is that it should be both skill-based and we should have a family-based system. As you know, many Indian Americans came here through the family-based system, in addition to the skill-based system. And that is consistent with America's history and traditions. And I think we should continue to maintain that, while at the same time being sophisticated about, for instance, people that are here studying in the STEM areas and people that we want to retain in the United States and perhaps fast track for immigration purposes to the extent that they are in areas of vital need for our country.
Great. Thank you, Congressman.
So yes, thank you, Sanjay, and thank you, Congressman, for your wonderful thoughts on it. So the next question is coming for both of you all. The question is, the green card process for citizens from India can take up about 15 years. And are there any proposals in Congress to fix this?
So before I answer the question, Pushpesh, I just want to mention that I'm being called because we're going to be having votes again today. So I probably can answer this question, and then unfortunately I have to depart this wonderful conversation. It's a big problem, the 15-year wait for getting a green card from H-1B. I met someone from Springfield, Illinois, and he was actually a successful physician. He was an H-1B holder, been waiting for his green card for, I think, 11 years. And he said, I have two plans for getting my green card. Plan A is I'll wait until they process my green card, and I think that the wait now is another 10 years for me to get it. Plan B is I have a 4-year-old son who was born here, and he reaches maturity at age 18. He will sponsor me.
It's 21. It's 21 actually.
21. I guess 21. So
Yeah.
I said you better take care of your boy with a lot of sweets and snacks. Now at age 21, but in all seriousness, this is an absurd state of affairs, and that's why I'm a co-sponsor of that bill to abolish the per-country caps, because essentially there are a lot of people who would benefit who are in that waiting list if we were to abolish those per-country caps and award it by first come, first served and other measures of merit. So in any case, I want to thank everybody for allowing me to spend a few minutes with you to talk about these issues. It's really been a wonderful conversation, and thank you to USINPAC for organizing this, and Sanjay and Pushpesh, you guys do such a great job, and nice to meet you, Rajiv, by Google Hangout, as well as everybody who asked a question, and I look forward to hopefully doing this again, and thank you again to everybody.
Thank you.
so much, Congressman.
Thank you, Congressman. Really appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, Rajiv.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
So, Rajiv, can you please continue the conversation of the same question from your
Sure.
perspective?
Sure. We can take it from policy to actual practice. From a policy angle, some of the things that we need to point out to Congress in skill-based immigration or skilled immigration is this. In the technology industry, if the national unemployment is 4%, technology industry, we go from 0 to 2.9, 2.1, 2.2%. So we are half to almost 1/4 of the national unemployment. I'm not sure I understand where the problem is. And I'm always willing to listen, because if I live in this country, I want this country to benefit from our lives as well. We don't want to take jobs away from anybody else. There's plenty of jobs, plenty of things we can do. We have so many entrepreneurs coming from India. We have so many other ways of creating jobs. So we don't need to take away jobs from any US workers. And if indeed that is happening, that should be stemmed. But we need to find out whether it is happening. Just two people standing up and saying, well, they took away my job. Wait, let's understand the facts. As I said before, for 20 years, Department of Defense could not pass basic audit. Yesterday, there was a report that Pentagon is supposed to have created a slush fund where they sell gasoline at premium rates and take that money and put that away for projects that are not funded by Congress. Are we going to close down Pentagon? Should I apply for a suite in Pentagon to open my office there? It doesn't work like that. You've got to study the problem. Don't just get swayed by emotional rhetoric. That is absolutely fatal to our efforts at economic improvement and keeping our edge. Now, talking point number 2. When we talk about Department of Labor keeping track of employment, Department of Labor is at least 5 years behind in technology. There are jobs in the technology industry, like Sanjay said, data scientist. Do you know there is no job called data scientist in the Department of Labor list of jobs? There's no such job. Cloud technologies. There are no jobs in cloud technologies. Cybersecurity. They have barely one title in cybersecurity. Department of Labor has created 13 jobs in the technology industry, 3 or 4 in the management side on technology. Whereas in the real world, we've got close to 70, 75 titles. So Department of Labor is way behind. Number 3, when we talk about people, I saw an article by Congressman Grassley that talked about 82% or 80% of workers on H-1B being paid below the median wage. That is not true. I don't know where they are getting that statistic. I've seen those statistics. Unfortunately, the most recently available statistics from USCIS are not as detailed as the one before that. If you look at the statistics from last year, it's a totally different picture. The picture that emerges is totally different. The median wage of a US worker are lower than that of an H-1B worker. We are paying them more. At least that's what I see. Now remember, I don't work with Infosys or Tata, any of the 3 main Indian companies. I work with local companies, some consulting companies. We see the other angle. We see the small business angle. And by small business, I mean 500 above. Of course, we've got clients who are 20, 30, 40,000 employees, but they are multinational companies. Their approach is different. We are hurting the small business. And that is the backbone of US economy. That's the next talking point. I see a lot of problem when people tell me, look, I'm spending $7,000 or $8,000 to hire an H-1B worker. There is so much uncertainty in the system. Almost 30 to 40% cases are getting denied for random reasons in the consulates or by the USCIS for criteria that absolutely make no sense. Government has proceeded to administer the program, H-1B program, through edict, through memoranda instead of regulations. In 2005, Sanjay would know this, there was the Neufeld Memorandum. The Neufeld Memorandum said, we are going to define employment for H-1B purposes with totally different standards. We were not asked for an input. We were not allowed to give our input on that. There was a lawsuit filed in Washington, D.C., which I think was the wrong forum. In Washington, D.C., you don't win lawsuits against the government easily. They filed a lawsuit here, and of course we lost because the Neufeld Memorandum was thought to be an interpretational memorandum. Remember, there's a difference between changing the law and changing the interpretation of law. Government gets away with that because we allow them to get away with that. Right. We, the people, have to make our voices heard. And I think that's where USINPAC comes in, because you folks are in touch with people. We are in touch with people. We need to mobilize people. I'll tell you one thing. Most businesses don't want to come up front because government does victimize businesses. If you file a complaint, I have seen this. I file a lawsuit against the government. They behave like children. They pout and they send me a request for evidence which is 30 pages long, which they won't normally do if I don't sue them. This is not the rule of law. This is the rule of petulant children. We can't have this kind of administration. Do you know that USCIS has not allowed any kind of auditing of their procedures? Department of Labor did theirs. I think Ernst & Young did that. That's how they got the PERM program which we have today for green cards. Not the best program, but at least they allowed somebody to look at their books and how they do things. Not USCIS. So I think these are the talking points that we need to bring to people. And above all, guys, members of our community, don't give up. This is not something people can get away with. If you make enough noise, if you make yourself heard, there are plenty of reasonable people in this country. I believe in this country. I believe in our system. I believe in our people.
Thank you so much, Rajiv, for your wonderful thoughts on it. Sanjay, do you have any comments on it?
No, I think Rajiv's passion is very right, and we as USINPAC do more to mobilize our community and work with Rajiv and follow what Congressman Krishnamoorthy said. So this was a very informative session, and this is not the only session because immigration is a very important topic because it impacts not just individuals, it impacts families. So we will continue this, Rajiv, in engaging with you, and we will also continue our work on the Hill and follow up on these important questions. So thank you so much, and thank you, Congressman Krishnamoorthy.
Thank you, all of you. It's been a privilege and a pleasure. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for joining us today, Rajiv. And
yes,
we are thankful for Congressman Krishnamoorthy to also join us today. It was great to have you on our show. To all our viewers who couldn't join our call today, they can find the recording of the discussion on our YouTube channel, which is www.youtube.com/USINPAC. This is being followed by our members around the country and it will be distributed to all our database of 80,000 members. We would also like to thank all our panelists for today's session. If you would like to contribute or want to get involved in USINPAC, please visit our website, which is www.usinpac.com. So, thank you so much, everybody. It was great and a very exciting session.
Good luck, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Pushpesh.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, everybody.